Good morning and welcome to another video. We are here in sunny Suffolk with the Series 3. Regular viewers may know that we've just finished re-chassising this on a Mayer galvanised chassis, but the last thing we need to sort out is the exhaust, because the exhaust is not ideal, which is why I've come to see Dan, who's over there. At Demand Engineering.
Can you work that
There's
camera?
Dan. Not very well, evidently. But no, Dan is a bit of a magician with exhaust, so we're going to get the Series 3 up on the ramp. We'll show you why it needs to be sorted out, and then we're going to crack on with a nice new stainless steel exhaust system, aren't we, Dan?
Yeah, maybe I'll teach you to weld as well.
Can you teach me how to use this camera? Let's get started. You join me under the Series 3 and we're going to have a little look at what exhaust is on it now. So, starting at the back, we've got a straight pipe which goes out behind the back wheel. And as we come along here, you can see that massive silencer there, which, to be fair, doesn't do an awful job of quietening the V8 down. But that's not the main issue. Carry on along here. So, this section here is an old Steve Parker conversion system. But it's been knocked about and repaired and bodged up over the years. So this joint here always blows. That's why it's got two exhaust clamps on it. This part here, the downpipe, has been sectioned, welded back up. It sits really low. It looks quite ugly. Quite a narrow pipe as well, so it's probably strangling this engine a little bit. We're going to go up to the next size pipe, hopefully free up the breathing a little bit, do away with that blow, and just neaten it all up really, because as you can see, everything else looks nice and the exhaust kind of lets it down. So lots to do, better crack on. The first job, of course, was to get the old exhaust system off the Land Rover. Dan's going to build this basically from the manifolds back, freehand, freestyle, so there's no need to use the old one as reference, so he just gets on with unbolting it.
There's a man who's not using a...
Oh, people will be annoyed in the comments. Chrome socket on a
Oh, shush.
on a bolt.
Don't get my snap on people, see that?
There she goes. Ta-da! Thanks. Thanks, Dan, thanks. So here you can see where I've clearanced the original downpipe to miss the chassis as it was knocking against it before. What are you doing? What are you doing?
These are some that I made earlier.
Like Blue Peter?
Martin was delightful enough to send me his very precious used manifold that he's picked up.
That's brand new 20 years ago.
Delightfully restudied, which enabled me to get these drawn and made ahead of time. Stainless flanges.
Can I have that back now?
Yeah.
Thanks. Whilst we were busy getting in the way and making a nuisance of ourselves, Laura was bending up exhaust pipes for Demand's stock.
So we'll measure the port size in a minute, which is more important, but this is about 46 mil, which is 1.75 inches in old money. And I don't think your downpipes, especially the one that you crushed,
I don't know what you mean.
is 1.75 inches.
I cannot be charged with this crime.
No. So, yeah, the port size is between 1.75 inches and 1.75 inches. So it's probably something like 1.5 inches. But we will go with 1.75 inches, which is what I normally would expect on this sort of engine, at least at the beginning. We'll see how we get on. But we've got to wait for Laura because, like I said, we've got to change tools before we get too into it.
Dan, you're actually saying one of the reasons that join in the downpipes might have been blowing so much was because there was too much pressure in there.
Yeah, if you've got too much restriction on your system, then there's going to be a lot of what people would call back pressure. And back pressure is a big thing in the exhaust world, although it's actually the wrong technical term. I think some of the anoraks out there will tell me the right term for it, but it's associated with back pressure. But you're talking about the velocity of the exhaust gases down the pipe. So if there's too much restriction, you will build up too much pressure, especially when you've got higher revving engine. So if you let's imagine how much air your engine's going to be pumping at idle. It's going to be pumping a huge amount more air, like 800 RPM or something, or whatever this idle's at. It goes up to about 4,000, 5,000, I think, the Rover V8, something like that. It's not hugely high revving, but there's a lot more air being pumped down your pipe, as it were. You know, it's all about air, isn't it? It's a big air pump. But if you've got too much restriction, you'll have too much sort of build up here at the front, and it'll be choking it, and it'll be restricting performance. And if you've got any weak spots in your exhaust, like a dodgy,
bad joint,
pasted up joint,
I don't know what you mean.
do you know what I mean? So that will be, it will find the weak spots in the exhaust system.
What goes into an exhaust then, Dan? Talk us through what we need.
So once we've decided on tube size, the size of the exhaust, for your particular exhaust, we need a Y pipe. So we're going to need the Y part of that equation, which I make in a particular style. It's not just, you know, two pipes teed together. We'll have it in a bit more flowed way than that. And then we'll need to have a thumb in the air sort of guesstimate on what sort of silencing you want for your exhaust. And that is really very much dependent on personal choice. So customer's always right, try and give the customer what they want. And in the case of Land Rover, it's body style. So you've got a truck cab, which isolates you, in my opinion, from the exhaust noise the best. It's all happening out the back. You've got no big bass drum effect of the cab right behind you. You've got quite a lot happening between you and where the sound comes out of the exhaust system. Whereas if you've got like a van back, that's the worst. You know, especially a van back with no insulation. It's like travelling around in a big bass drum. If you've ever hired like a transit van or something like that, you'll notice driving down the road at 70 miles an hour, they're really loud, you know, unless you've got a bulkhead. So like soft tops are really bad for noise. Van backs are the worst in my experience. Everything else, like if you've insulated it, if you've got a station wagon with glass and seats, if it's like an expedition thing with loads of like camping gear in the back, you know, it really helps to deaden the sound. But so that helps with personal choice. Like if you're going to and also what you're doing with the vehicle. If you are using this for like quick 20-minute trips to the pub and you're going green laning in it, and it's all low speed and it's all back roads, you know, you won't mind perhaps if it's really like letting you hear all those pound notes that you're burning in fuel. If you're going to spend all of your time on the motorways and the M25 and, you know, heading up the M1 to Scotland, and you know you're going to spend all your time at 70 miles an hour, which you aren't particularly in this vehicle, I know, but if you're spending all your time on that motorway, you're not going to want a hugely loud exhaust because you're not going to be able to hear yourself think. So it's really about that. That's where it kind of like the experience thing comes in, customer choice, the vehicle type, and what you're going to be doing with it. So cool. We're going to make you a couple of silencers, and we're going to make you a Y pipe, and we're going to make these connections onto your manifolds.
Cool.
We are here in business. So this is our selection of bits. Some people don't know that we make our silencers. I believe there's quite a few outfits out there that buy in silencers ready-made. I can do that. The companies that make them tend to change the spec on them, and I lose an element of control. And when you're building a reputation, when you're building a business on something, how much control do you want to give over to something else, an unknown element, just to save a few quid? So we make all of our silencers, which is great. These are the flexis we use on all our big systems. They're triple walled, so they've got 3 elements to them. They've got like an interlocking, like if you've ever had a wood burner installed, it's like a flue interlocking stainless system. You've then got a bellows, and then you've got like what do they call it? That braided sort of stainless mesh on the outside. So they're pretty good. I draw them up, all the different varieties, and then we've got like things like the 2.2 downpipe flange for the turbo. These are unbelievably expensive. The M57 sort of thing that we've got into recently, a lot of M57 conversions.
Dan, one thing that's been sort of on my mind is why is everything still in inches? Like, we're in a metric world, aren't we? Tell me, I don't understand.
Oh no, I'm not that old, honestly.
Is that what it is?
No. So the weld of tube is an American-led weld, and it's all in imperial. So everything's in inches. So we're talking 1.5 inches, 1 3/4,
right.
2 inch, and it might be written down a bit like tyres. They always confuse me, tyres, but they're written down. So this is 127 mil, but that would be 5 inches.
Right. Okay.
50.8 would be 2 inches. Yeah, it's.
And what size are we going for the downpipes?
We're doing 1 3/4 inch to begin with.
Right.
We'll work the rest out as we go.
Cool. What are we doing first, Dan?
We're going to make a Y pipe.
Start the front, work back.
Yeah, people tend to call them collectors in the people tend to call them collectors in the exhaust world.
Right. All the welding that Dan does on his exhaust systems is with TIG welding, so tungsten inert gas, which gives a really, really neat finish, and as he'll explain in a minute, lets you do really clean welds with no restrictions on the inside of the pipe. Dan, just a second ago you showed me the difference between purged exhaust tubing and non-purged, and the difference that it makes when you're building an exhaust.
Yes, this is part of the vector that we're doing for his V8, which I have purged, and we can do some more illustration later on, but you might see that there isn't really any degradation. There's no interruption, no damage will be done.
Smooth,
yeah, super smooth. That's the words. You've got the words. I haven't got the words. Probably better find some light for it. So this piece of tube I've just picked out of our scrap, and you can see that I've done some welding on the outside, which looks perfectly fine. I only did it really rather quick. But on the inside, you've got. I think somebody used to call them dags. Somebody else has called them sugar crystals recently. I forget who, but essentially you've got the oxidising weld inside the pipe.
Yeah, it looks totally different. Wow.
So you don't want that. It's going to upset your exhaust flow.
Got you.
All right?
Cheers, Dan.
I'm trying to replicate your olive joint.
I won't tell you what Dan actually calls it.
That would sound really wrong.
We wouldn't be able to monetize this video if we did that.
You'd have to censor it.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so we've made our collector. So now we're looking at downpipe flanges, and these are an olive joint, aren't they?
These are an olive joint. We're not using an olive particularly, but we're going to make this ball socket, which I've kind of done to replicate the one that was there.
Right.
And these go into the socket in the manifold nicely.
Got you.
And we've got up in here. Need a bit more light probably.
Oh yeah, just like that.
Yeah, and there's room for the nuts, which is kind of quite imperative.
Happy
So
days.
we'll make another one of them, and that will be us connected on.
Lovely.
Right, what we're going to do next, because Laura's done the bender, is we are going to make the silencer.
Cool.
We'll make both of them. Yeah, so that will be good. So we'll come out here, we'll go down there, come across, and then we've got to get up into that collector up here.
You'll notice on this side, Dan, the manifold points upsettingly at the chassis rail.
Yeah.
Which is something to overcome.
We will endeavour to do our best. It'll be fine.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
This machine here stretches and flares the pipe so you can get a really snug fit where you join them together.
Oh, stop!
Dan, we're on to silencer now, aren't we?
Here we are. One skin. We're going to put that in our can press, which I did make. Very technical can press. one oval. Technical hammer. One oval end plate. We're going to tack weld it up.
So when you make your own silencers, which is fairly not typical of exhaust makers, is it not?
As far as I understand, I'm not au fait with the entire exhaust making world, but it is quite common to buy in silencers because they're a sort of standardised product in the exhaust world for the most part.
Got you. But the benefit of doing your own, I'm guessing that's the stuff that goes in the silencers, is that you can
Some of it.
customise the noise, the sound levels to what the customer wants. Is that fair to say?
And the temperatures, yeah.
Okay.
Like a diesel exhaust isn't going to burn as hot as like a high performance petrol exhaust. So you can stuff the silencer with a different material.
So what are we going for with this one then?
We are going for matte on the outside. You'll see that in a minute. Matte on the outside, and that stops the tinniness. A lot of sort of conventional stainless steel exhausts back when they first started to come out. The old boys in the screen will remember that, well, it sounds quite tinny, a stainless steel exhaust. I've heard that a lot. And this, around the outside of the skin, sort of dulls it down and makes it sound more solid, as it were. You lose that tinny sound. Because you've got a large silencer here for your V8, your V8 growl, we'll go for we're going to go for a big void filled up with e-glass, which will still take the temperature of yours, and then we're going to protect that e-glass with a bit of stainless steel wire wool around the perforated tube. It will become more apparent. You'll probably get a better shot when I put it together. Loud noises. So Martin,
You're so natural on camera, Dan.
how loud do you want your exhaust?
I don't want it too loud because it's only a little 3.5 and I don't want it to be noisier than it is fast. To be perfectly honest.
But if it's noisier, you can feel like it's
But there's
faster.
nothing more tragic than hearing a really loud engine come down the road and it's still coming down the road 30 seconds later because it's really slow.
You're not going to relive your youth in car parks, and you're going to sit there and burn out the tyres on your.
That doesn't work with Land Rovers. It doesn't work. I've tried it.
There's a different way of burning out tyres. It's slightly more illegal.
Yeah, indeed.
You don't want it that loud, right? Fine.
No, not too loud.
Fine.
I hope you've got low expectations for this video. And Dan, what are you doing now?
We're going to cut the skin on your little silencer that's going to go in the back. We're going to put 2 silencers in it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because you want it to be quieter. And in my experience, quite often, if you're not careful with one silencer, you can get a bit of drone. And an exhaust is always a compromise between all those things that you want. You want performance, you want it to sound good, but it might be that at a certain RPM on a certain road, it just drones. There's always going to be some sort of compromise because you're talking about that volume of air. It's going to be optimised for 1 RPM. It's going to be optimised for high revving, or it's going to be optimised for mid-range. It's never going to be all things to all men. It's always going to be a compromise. So in my experience, because you're getting a slightly bigger bore exhaust, I think the answer is to put your 2 silencers in. So interrupting those sound waves coming down your exhaust system and taking it out in 2 sections. Exhaust. This is all very technical. Technical, corporate, or hand-built, that's what we're doing here.
doesn't get much more hand built.
10.5 to 26. I'll use that bit in another one. So this is the mat that goes on the outside. Goes on there. This will be on the inside. So this is stainless steel wire wool.
So say I wanted a really loud one, what would you do? Would you adjust the amount of something or explain to me?
Well, you've obviously heard of the term straight through, or straight through exhaust,
Yeah.
which is a little confusing for a guy whose exhaust pipes are, you know, you could literally see from one side or the other. I mean, if I get rid of the,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
We can see straight through it.
would
yeah.
you call that straight through?
I mean, I can see straight through it, so based on that, yes.
So, but yes, but that's not really what a lot of people talk about.
To me, a straight through exhaust has no silencers in it.
That's it. Exactly.
Right, okay,
So a
good.
straight through exhaust is a, as far as I understand it, convention says that it's an exhaust with no silencers. So if you wanted your V8 loud, you could have it with no silencers.
Right.
And you'd have a big silly grin on your face for about 5 minutes. In fact, we should start it up with no exhaust.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Shall we wake the neighbours? What's this bag of hair you've just produced?
This is your next wig.
This
This
does
is
look quite similar.
this is for when you dress up as Santa Claus. This
Did
is,
you make it yourself or?
no, this is called stranded e-glass. It's essentially fast fiberglass.
Okay.
Because your silencer is quite big, you're not going to have any extra benefit if I fill it up with stainless steel wool.
Right.
For the sports silencers, I don't end up using this stuff as well, but it's perfectly fine for this application. So it's what I stuff in the bigger ones.
Got you. What are we doing now, Dan?
We're going to put the cap on.
Okay.
Nearly there. Don't really want any of it sticking out.
Is that the stuff that you see when like a Vauxhall Astra's got blown out exhaust and it's all hanging out in the tailpipe?
Something like that, maybe. It depends. So most OEM exhausts are built with baffles.
Right.
They don't tend to be absorption type. Not as a rule. They tend to be baffled ones with a tortuous path.
Right.
Which is why quite often you can just change your exhaust out for a sports exhaust and it will have absorption silencers, which work differently and have no restriction, which is what you talk about. The whole ethos of what we're doing here is about flow.
Sure. Dan, I always measure someone's success on how many angle grinders they've got, so then you don't have to swap. You don't have to swap between discs all the time. So
That was never going to be a thing in this workshop.
do you not think?
No.
Look at your grinder collection, though.
I've only got, there's 3 on that bench actually.
3 on one bench. Someone's doing all right. So I'm obviously buzzing to see how this is going to sound with its new exhaust, but it'd be kind of rude not to fire it up with no exhaust on at all, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I see your little face.
That's enough of that, I think.
What's the hair and makeup budget? That's it, you've just spent it, Dan. What are we doing here then? What's this massive lump?
So this is our mandrel bender, and this machine is it's an expensive way of bending tube. Let's make no bones about it. Every time you change tube, every time you change size, which we're going to do shortly, which I'm actually doing now. Sorry, you have to put a new set of tools on, and all these tools you have to have made for this machine. So if you're going to change tube thickness, for instance, you'll need a new mandrel and ball set, which is what this thing in the middle is. That goes inside the tube as it's being bent, and that's what stops the tube being crushed and deformed as it goes around the bend.
As an example of an exhaust that isn't mandrel bent, this is the old one, and as you can see on the bends, it's quite tightly crushed, which restricts flow.
How often I do 1 3/4 inch, I've got to find a bit. I have got some more. 1 3/4 inch.
That's the stick we're using, is it?
That is it.
Right, Dan, we're on to making the bits join up now, aren't we? So the downpipe off the manifold has got to meet that collector.
The pipe,
and we've got a piece of pipe. So what are we doing?
Well, it's a piece of tube if you're being all Anaraki, but
Sorry,
we call it pipe. Yeah, we're going to get my protractor out and have a bit of a bend and see where we're at with this machine. And we're going to bend up a piece of tube, but there is a spring back element. So even though I've just measured that, I've still got to add a guesstimate of what the spring back will be.
Right. So this is the first downpipe sort of loosely in position, isn't it? And we're just marking where that first bend's going to go to bring it across.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You know, we'll have a go. I mean, it is a bit of an art form at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course.
It's either going to go or it's not going to go, and I might have to cut it, do a bend and bring it back. I'm definitely going to have to put a cut in here and a weld in here at some point, because I can't do two bends on top of each other.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
This is where I was on about it being a bit of an art form. How much do you reckon? Same as last time?
You're asking the wrong person,
Probably
mate.
the same as last time.
For 50, Dan, I reckon it's 50. Based on absolutely no experience whatsoever.
It's the optimum age, is that what it is?
I wouldn't know, I haven't got there yet.
You haven't got to the optimum age. You're not at your peak.
Here you can see Dan's got the Y-piece tacked up and in place, and the silencer supported on a stand, which gives us a good idea of the routing. So where are we now then, Dan? What's happening?
What's happening is that we have welded up your front pipes, so they're all nice and beautiful.
They certainly
and
are.
We're going to fit them so that we can then continue making the centre section. And what I'm going to use is your UNF delightful size nuts that you had on it, which were new when you rebuilt it, but I'm going to use some of these anti-vibration washers, which you called Nordlocks, but I think Nordlocks are a brand, but essentially they're serrated on both sides, and they've got this interlocking kind of tooth thing on the inside.
And they're better than spring washers, are they?
They'll be better than spring washers for this application.
Excellent.
Because spring washers and heat aren't the best of friends, and you need something that's going to lock these on, and I don't have any flanged heads in UNF.
Cool.
So we'll use those. So don't worry about it. This is our collector that we made earlier.
Yes.
We've got some lovely stainless mitt-claw clamps. We're going to put some silicon sealant in here to help seal it up. We've just had a discussion about the merits of the temperature resistance of silicon, which you people at home might realise there's use for oven gloves and all sorts of other things. We're going to use some of this builder's general purpose silicone, probably fresh out of a bathroom near you, although this one's black. And we're going to use that on this, and we're going to put that in there and make all this fit nicely and do it up. Start-up video.
100%.
Good. Oh, this, I did check this goes through here. Good fit. Yes, we're on.
It's like you've done this before, then.
Oh no, I should take it up, shouldn't I? We'll get there in the end. I have to get an actual normal spanner out rather than an ugger-dugger. You know, Drew Wright doesn't like ugger-duggers.
Does he not?
No, he's a real anti-ugger-dug. Does that make sense? No, maybe not. I'm not using the right socket.
It's fine.
Like I said, just don't tell Mr. Snap-on.
I'll sort that out in post, don't worry about it.
Easy bit.
Dan, we've sorted the front section out. It's complete. Look at it. Look at it in all its
beautiful.
glory.
It's a thing of beauty.
So now what are we doing?
We're going to do the centre section. I mean,
So
obviously.
we've got the silencer chilling up there for the moment. The first silencer of two.
Yep.
Now we need to make the front bit join the back bit.
Correct. You're a genius. Do you need a job?
I don't think you want to employ me. And then we need to make sure it hangs, don't we?
Yeah. We've got to do the hang. We sort of you make a section, hang a section. So that's the
Okay.
rule of thumb here. But we're going to ignore the hanging of the front just for the minute until we get the silencer in, and then we'll do the next two hangers at the same time. And hopefully this last rear end, because you've got so much space under this.
It is quite spacious, isn't
You haven't
it?
put the fuel tank
There's
in,
no
really.
fuel tank there.
You know, it's very basic.
I banished that to under the seat.
Banish it. We will hopefully get this done in a hop, skip and a jiffy. Right, so obviously, because you're a race car owner, Martin, you want like, you can't, 2.5 inch, no, you don't want that. 3 inch, no, what you need is bucket size on here. I mean, how?
That looks... No.
Are you certain?
I'm certain, yeah. What on earth would you fit that to?
All sorts of like Subarus and Jap sports cars or American stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Okay, I'll tell you what we're not fitting it to.
This. The paps. I'm being papped. That's what it is.
That's just like that then, is it?
Sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you might need a bit of a kink in it. So. Yeah, I think a bit of a kink, bit of a let's say.
That looks like a 5 degree to me, Dan.
No, hang on, we haven't quite got the back where we want it, have we?
In my 2 days of exhaust building experience.
Yeah, because you're crack hot now. Crack hot.
Dan, just quickly, you just put that pipe down. What did you mark with the felt tip pen for?
Very boring, very boring.
People
boring.
want to know.
No, they don't.
Please.
So, do you know what Helen said? She said, what you need is lots of cups of tea and a blue felt tip pen, isn't it? A blue Sharpie goes a long way in a workshop like this. And I said, yes. And they all have to be blue.
Is that the key to making delightful exhausts?
Blue Sharpie, yeah.
Okay.
I tried purple once, but it didn't quite work.
So what you've actually not answered the question is that's to mark off what you need to cut off, or the angle that needs to be welded, or what is that?
That's what I'm going to cut off it, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's
Thanks
all very technical. Martin.
insight into your world.
It's this B-roll. Richard Attenborough, as it were.
David Attenborough.
That's the one, David Attenborough.
The David Attenborough of the exhaust world.
No, you are. Ugger-duggers? How many ugger-duggers?
What are you doing now?
Tighten it out.
I can't see. There's a crossmember in the way.
Temporary tighten up, that's what I mean. You want the slash up. You want it coming out like... You got this military rear crossmember, haven't you? So do you want it like... where it was, or what?
Yeah, like here.
Or do you want it like series style and we'll go straight out like that? Not do a straight edge rather than a slash cut. So you could have there maybe.
Oh, that would look cool.
I don't know, maybe it's not really enough room.
We're going for rolled tip. We're going straight out the side with
Or
the
I'll
silencer.
put
A little
that.
baby silencer. That would look better because it would be tucked up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it might be that needs to go in.
This is exciting.
This has all got to come down because it's all getting too high for me.
Oh, okay. That looks good to me, Dan. So we've got tailpipe here, silencer here, and then that pipe there, and it all needs joining together, and then hanging.
What, we've got to join it together?
If you don't mind, if you've got time.
Let's do that.
Thanks.
Will you be crying into your milk?
Because you've got to drill a hole in my chassis.
Two. I'm going to drill
Two holes.
2 holes.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Martin 2 holes, we'll call you.
And that is a TDI. Show me the exhaust hanger. What are we using here?
We're using a 300 TDI galvanised hanger as bought from YRM, which we're going to use one of these lovely, delightful Polybush
It's very shiny.
rubbers in orange, which matches everything about your Land Rover. And
It matches the dampers.
oh, well, there you go. Yeah,
So,
colour
yeah.
coordinated.
We've thought about it.
And we're going to drill some holes in the rear here, and yeah, it's going to make it work. We're going to make it work.
Now, on the face of it, Dan, it looks like we can run that piece of straight pipe straight from that piece of pipe to this silencer, doesn't it?
How many times can you say piece of pipe in one sentence?
Piece of pipe. Piece of pipe, piece of pipe.
It's a piece of tube, as you're allowed to
Sorry,
say to you.
is it?
We are going to not, to be honest, because there's an axle here. And
Yes,
you
the
can
axle-
see how far the axle is designed to move by this gap here. So effectively you need to take this gap and sort of multiply it across the top of the axle case. So we've only really got this room up here to get through this hole. So we'll have to go do a wiggle, a dog leg sort of thing,
Okay,
and we'll come over towards your silencer.
splendid.
Think of a number between 0 and 90.
65.
No, it's too much.
Oh, okay.
Um,
This is why I don't make exhaust for a living.
This is why I'm not employing you. Don't go that way. Go this way. Pap! You with the pap. We're not there yet. Don't get
Look
too
how close it is, though.
excited.
Look at it.
Just look at the bones.
Look at her. I can't wait to hear it. Look at that. Look at that. Look. Oh, it's a thing of beauty, that is, Dan.
Joy forever. Don't worry, it's not coming out apart. I reckon that will be fine. That will be fine, I reckon. I reckon it will.
We're on the final stretch then, Dan. What are we doing?
We are hanging it, Mark.
Putting hangers on.
We are hanging it.
So we're welding a hanger to the pipe there, which will go up to that chassis bracket. And at the back here, we've got that TDI hanger with a polyurethane mount, which will go onto the tailpipe to keep everything nice and straight. We're getting close now. I'm excited to hear this thing run. Look at that.
You and I both know that.
Well, as you can see, it's dark outside, but
Bloody hell, it's 7 o'clock.
look at this. The exhaust is done. So straight off the bat, we've gone for side exit, rolled tip tailpipe, which goes under the chassis rail. It's got the demand badge there. And then going forward, got a small silencer there, through the PTO hole, into a bigger silencer, and then across the top, all nice and tucked up out of the way, up beside the transfer box, and then this beautiful Y pipe here, which is not only tucked up higher than it was before, but it also hasn't got that horrible slip joint in the middle, and it tucks beautifully up around the side of the cross member there, way out of harm's way, up to the manifolds. So the only thing to do now is fire it up and see how it sounds. Yeah. Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, so good. There we have it then, job done. Dan, don't run away, you've got to come here and do a bit to camera. There he is, the man himself. What an absolutely quality job. Thank you ever so much for your time. And oh, the engine's gonna cut out. She's on choke still, it's fine. If you want to see more of what Dan does, check out his Instagram, Demand Engineering.
Which we're not brilliant at.
And yeah, any queries, obviously you've got an online shop, haven't you, on your website, so you can get all off the shelf stuff. Yeah, get in touch. He's a friendly chap, as you probably can tell. And get something nice for your Land Rover. Cheers, Dan.
No worries, man.
See you soon. Well, it's been a couple of months since I had the exhaust done at Demand Engineering on the old Series 3, and I'm really, really impressed. I didn't realise just how restrictive that old exhaust was. This has opened up so much more low-end torque, and the V8 just revs so nice and freely now. It's something I should have done probably years ago. Yeah, it's just so much smoother. There's so much more sort of eagerness from the engine, and even though that's only a low compression 3.5 litre V8, if I do ever want to add some performance stuff to that engine or go to a bigger size, the exhaust can flow it. So it's set to go. It's future proof now. So yeah, I could not be happier. I'm going to enjoy this green lane. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.